Hello, dear students, parents, and educators. Welcome to Math Inquiry Learning Journey organized by the GEM Foundation. In this session, we will share small ideas or activities that will help children understand a math concept by asking questions, making observations, think critically, and becoming a bit more curious and thereby enjoy the process of learning. The power of inquiry based learning is basically helping children to understand a concept by asking more questions, thereby not limiting to what the teacher says, but expand their knowledge base by making observations through their questions. So, in this session, we are going to see the concept of division. The concept of division is usually starting with sharing equally. So, in this session, we will see how the basic division concept can be made interesting by opening up mental division strategies and also finding patterns in division. Stay tuned to see the activity. So, when we say the concept of division, the first thing that comes to our mind is sharing or dividing equally. Let's say, for example, 20 divided by 4, which can also be written as 20 with the division symbol as 4. So, what does this mean? If, for example, you have around 20 cookies, so what does this division by 4 can mean? Basically, it can mean that you group the 20 cookies into equal grouping. So basically you are grouping in terms of fours, right? So you are putting maybe in a packet of fours, so you are grouping in terms of fours. So if you group in terms of fours, how many groups can you get? Is the first part, right? That's what most of you would be knowing. So this is called equal grouping, and which asks the question of if you group in packs of four, how many groups you can make? How many such equal groups can be made? Yeah. So basically, 4 into what? How many groups will make 20? So usually children say the times table and find the answer 20. So you can also think the same way that the grouping could mean as if you have 20 cookies, it can also mean that you want to divide the 20 among 4 children. So let's say I want to share this 20 cookies equally among these 4 children. So if I want to share this equally among the 4 children, how could I share it? Could be the other way of thinking. So in this case, I can say that, okay, so if I want to share the cookies equally among the children, then I can maybe tell that, okay, the first one goes here, the second one goes here, the third one goes here, and the fourth one goes here. So basically, I kind of split these cookies among the 4 children. So which would basically mean that I gave them each, right? So cookie one, two, three, four, and then another cookie to everyone, so that they are getting equal sharing among the 4 children. So in this case, what we call is equal sharing. So the question basically can be rephrased as if I have 20 cookies, I want to share equally to 4 children. How many how many cookies each children will get? How many cookies each child will get? Right? So that is in each child, how many will be there? So if I want to make it into 4, into how many? 4 children, how many will be 20? The same question, but asked in a different way. So the first one is called equal grouping, and the second one is called equal sharing. So this is the basic concept of division. And if you, for example, if you have instead of 20 cookies, you have 21 cookies, there will be 4 groups still, but one will be remaining. Here again, there will be 5 for everyone, each of them, and then one will be remaining. So this is the basic concept of division, which represents equal grouping or equal sharing. Starting from this, without like kind of jumping directly to long division or short division strategies, we kind of paused for a moment and asked children to think what are the different things that you can think of while during division, starting from 20 divided by 4, now that you know what is equal grouping and equal sharing. So that from grade 4 or grade 5 children, they started telling, okay, come, let's try doing for different examples. And since they were already introduced for multiplication, which is very easy when they are multiplied by tens, powers of tens, which is like 20 into 100 is 200, or 20 into 1000 is 20,000, or something like that. So they wanted to try, and what happens if I divide a number by 20? So say for example, if I have a number 420 divided by 10, and then some of the children, they kind of already learned that if there is a 0 on the numerator and 0 on the denominator, just cancel it and you get the answer 42. But when the same children were asked why it can be 42, or why you can actually cancel it, so it kind of made them thinking, but they were unable to kind of share an idea of why it is so. So how children can be made understood in this case basically is, so 420 divided by 10. So here what example we saw is 20 divided by 4. And what question we have asked? How many groups of 4 is there in 20? So basically the division translates to how many groups of 4 is makes 20, or is there in the group of 20, right? Same question asked here. How many groups of 10? How many groups of tens are in 420? And then children started thinking, okay, how many tens are there? Okay, so I know, ma'am, what I can write. So 420, I can write it as 42 tens. And I asked, how? 42 tens. So tens is basically kind of can be written as multiplied by tens. So 42 times tens is 420. So therefore I can write 420 as 42 tens. Okay, so now then what can be the answer for this question? How many groups of tens are there in 420? 42 tens. So therefore, when you actually cancel, then, what does it mean when I asked? The child can curiously make an answer. I am just answering the question of how many groups of tens are there in 420, ma'am. So, the answer will be 42. And here, arithmetically, I know that 420 can be written as 42 into 10. And then 420 divided by 10 can be written as 42 times 10 and divided by 10. So now they started understanding how the question, how many groups of tens are actually translating into writing like this. 42 times 10 and then divided by 10. And then 10 divided by 10 is nothing but 1, because any number divided by the same number will be the same number, right? So any number for that matter. So therefore I can just cancel, or I can say multiply by 1. And therefore I get 42. Now, just not stopping here, I kind of asked them more about, kind of explore, what more would you like to check with? What kind of weird numbers you want to try? And children come up with very interesting numbers in it. Ma'am, what would happen if I have some number like, 20, 30 divided by 100? Okay, come on, ask the same question. How many hundreds are there in 2030? How many hundreds there in 2030? So that would be, ma'am, there are 20 hundreds. Yeah, there are 20 hundreds. That's correct, because 20 into 100 is 2000, right? So basically, you can write this as 20 hundreds. Okay, and then I asked, what could be the remainder from after 20 hundreds? And then one child told interestingly, man, just three, because I have the three here. So 0 and 0, 2 units place. I just put a bar here. So this is 20 hundred, the quotient. And then the remainder is this just 3. And then I kind of asked children, okay, come, let's, how to verify the answers for the division problems. So you just need to multiply 20 by 100 and then add the remainder, right? So this is the remainder. So let's do that to check the answer. So 20 hundreds mean 2000, and then the remainder should be added, which is 2003. Is that the number you have here? oh no, there is some conflict here, right? So then children understood that, okay, so if I really make 20 hundreds, which is 2000, then I need to subtract it from 2030 to get the remainder, and therefore the remainder is 30 and not 3. So then one child come up with a strategy. Man, I got one strategy to divide any number by tens, multiple or powers of tens. Basically, I can just see how many zeros are there, and those many places I put a bar. To the left of it is the quotient, and to the right of it is the remainder. Oh, so let's see if that works. For any number, let's take 40208 divided by 100. And then there are two zeros, so put two places, a bar, and then the quotient is 402, and the remainder is 08. So in this case, did I ask 80? And then they clearly told it's not 80, it is 08, ma'am, which is 8. And how do you verify? Ma'am, I can verify that the quotient should be multiplied by the dividend, which is 100 in this case. So I get 40200, and then add the remainder. So here I get 40208. So by asking, making children to ask questions, try out different numbers, they come up with the strategies of finding the answer with some interesting observation. So in this case, they were able to understand how to find the for the multiple powers of tens. So the next question that they had come up with, and I was keeping telling on, it's about multiples of tens. So, in order to understand about the mental division strategies for how to apply the mental division strategy for the multiples of 10, stay tuned for the next episode on how children understood multiples of 10 by asking questions, making observations, and also coming up with interesting patterns that they did with repeated division, leading to an interesting conjecture on division. Stay tuned and check in our description for the next video. Thank you.